Okay, welcome in everyone, and hello. My name's Sugi Yamagawa, and today on VTubing my slow life hobbies in my 30s, we're going to be working on building a platform for a garage garden. It's going to go kind of roughly over about there-ish area. So, with the new garage door in place, I have basically an area where, well, my garage lets in a lot more natural light now. So, with access to more natural light, I can think about growing some plants in here. And then once we get the potato harvest from, well, we're gonna harvest potatoes tomorrow. After that's done, my pots will be freed up, and I'll be able to plant other crops in them. It's actually going to be lettuce and some herbs. We actually got. When did we get those started? Like Thursday. So, got that started. So, game plan for this build today. Really simple. Really simple. So, what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to make a 4x4 platform. 4 foot by 4 foot. I'm going to be doing it out of these 4x4s. They're actually 3.5 by 3.5 actual dimensions. And then these other pieces you see going across, those are going to be 2x4s. And that's basically going to form the base of the platform. And then running this way, up and down from your all's perspective, I plan to have some slat pieces added, and then that's going to like make a nice like good platform. And it will also be like open and airy. Since this is going to be, because I'm going to be using this to hold pots of dirt, soil, all that good stuff. So I don't want it to be, I don't want to have like a solid bottom, you know? Otherwise I could probably just build 4x4 frame and put one piece in the center for support, and then I could have everything else, then throw a piece of plywood on it and call it done. But that's not what I'm going to be doing today. So I want to build something that's a little bit open, something that will be freely draining, because I need to water this. If everything gets overwatered, that water needs somewhere to go. So really simple build, but should be fun. I think I'm expecting to be fun. I've got some tea with me. Make my life a little bit more lovely, because you know what they say, tea makes life lovely. So we got some 4x4s here. I've got them sitting on my little utility cart, which kind of angle things a little bit, and we'll just bring all your you find people's attention to over here. So this area is actually eventually where the garage garden is going to go. And actually, time for a ramble time. That pot over there, yes, that, you person, that's the inspiration for this project, because I've actually put one of these containers on that dolly thing, planted a tomato plant in it, and then whenever the weather was nice in like the colder months, I'll pull the plant outside, let it soak up some good sun's rays, and then if it got to like frosty temperatures at night, I would pull the plant in. And it was work to manage, but I was able to harvest vine-ripened tomatoes in January. So that's kind of like where the original inspiration for today's project comes from, was from that experiment I did. And what I'm wanting to do as far as like long-term plans is I'm hoping to have use this to help secure my lettuce supply in the winter months. Granted, if I'm growing, because this platform is going to hold 4 of these containers. It's going to hold that guy, this guy, that guy, and also this other guy here. And then I also have 2 more that are right behind the cart, but you're going to see all those people tomorrow. And as you can tell, all those wilted plants, those are old potato plants. And we're going to crack those open and we're going to harvest potatoes tomorrow. But today, we're going to be slicing and dicing wood, is what we're going to be doing today. If I can take a break from sipping tea. So, safety first, as always. So, I have rough ends on both these guys. So we're going to work on getting a nice clean edge, and then we'll start marking stuff out. So, I'm going to set you way off to the side. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do kerf, and then I'm going to turn this, and then I'm going to use that kerf to align the saw for the next cut, and then that way I get a nice flush cut all the way around. If you all don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to be demonstrating shortly. So, let's see. What is Makita set at? I don't know if I got it set really deep or really low. Because the lever's on this side. Yeah, let's do... Oh, hey there, buddy. Because I at least want a little bit more than 3/4 of an inch for this. And then he wandered off. Okay, that's fine. Okay. So I'm not... Can I show this? Can you guys see it? Yeah, you guys kind of can. Under my lever here. No, I can't readily do so. So I'm going to avoid doing so. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and flush up this end. Start making some sawdust. Okay. So, I've got a cut here. So, how this process goes is I take my piece of wood and I flip it. And then I'll line my blade up with that, and that helps me make consistent cuts going all the way around. Sure. That's gonna be, and then... And yes, this is as much of a process as it looks like it is. But that process gets us a mostly flush piece. It's a lot better than what we had. So from here, I can grab the tape measure coon and figure out where 4 feet is. Because that's what I want. Is 4 feet. Whoop. And actually, we'll go ahead and grab handy dandy speed square. Ooh. That didn't... Okay, that killed monitors. But did that kill stream? No, it did not kill stream. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's see. Audio good. Everything good. Okay, that's a fun whoopsie I've never had before. Okay, well, that's a new whoopsie in the history of whoopsies. But yeah, I accidentally hit something I should not have done. Okay, I have a mark on a piece of wood. Now it comes down to the question of how I do this. So, if I bring my piece of wood over, I still quite can't see where I'm at. Let's see. Yeah, you guys can't quite see where I'm at as far as where my cut is. Brandon, I think you can just barely see it. I don't know. We're gonna let you have a little bit more. We'll let you have a little bit more. But yeah, we're right here. Is where we've got our cut. So I gotta cut the make. So let's go. So that's one part of cut. Then we flip. And okay. One more time. And this will be the last time. And there we go. Let's see here. Come here. I'll come here. There you go. Oh. But yeah. That's roughly kind of what you get when you do that quarter method. It's a little imprecise, but gets the job done. Gets the job done. Wow, these are actually taller than I thought they were. This is going to make some exciting times later. So, that's our first piece of 4 cut out. So, what I think I'm going to do is we're going to return our attention to here. And what we're going to do is we're basically going to do the same process with our first piece as this piece. And then I just have to measure and cut off like on the other sides. What will be eventual offcuts. At least that's the game plan. So, go ahead and final cut. Oh wow, that actually did not clear. Oh, it was holding on by a hair though. But it is out of there. Cool, we'll set you on the workbench. Thanks for that. Now, grab tape measure, marking, and we find our 4 feet. Man, I was not expecting this to kick up this much sawdust. Okay. There we go. I want my handy dandy speed square. And we'll find that mark. So, move you over and bring this guy up. Because, yeah, let's see. Can't see the mark. You can barely see the mark. We'll try mark. Mark, you can see. Let's get ourselves a piece. And with that, let me just set that down. We'll rotate. Cool. And let's see. And flipperdoodles again. And we'll be almost through this one. Woohoo! And shucks. That's actually pretty clean. I'll take it. I will take it. I'm reasonably proud of that. Okay, so that's gonna go there. Then we've got two pieces here. We'll bring them in, dust myself off, and we can kind of get into a little bit more of position here. So we're gonna be flipping these around because what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be cutting these ends off. Because since I have a clean cut edge away from the camera, we're gonna find out where we need to make our cuts down here. So let's go ahead and mark that one, because we're gonna be marking these at the 4 foot because we want everything to be 4 feet. And then I'm going to take handy dandy speed square, take my small line and make it a line all the way across. Like there, and then for here. There we go. We got lines. We've got lines and pieces of wood. Cheers. So, let's go ahead and we're gonna work these basically the same way as we did the other ones. Turn. Turn. And block drop. And I swear with each one of these I get it a little bit better. So that's gonna go there. And now we get to take care of this one. So and don't nick the next piece of wood. Granted, that won't. That's actually not the worst thing in the world. Okay. And next up. There we go. Ooh. Woo! Man, that little salt sure makes a lot of sawdust. Oi, oi. But we've now got our pieces cut the length. So we've got pieces we can work with. Now, the where we go from here. Part. Now this is going to be the fun part. So the way I'm planning to connect these is what's called is with what's called a half lap joint, where basically what I'm going to do is, and I actually have this block here for a reason, is I'm going to use this to set, because this is actually a piece of scrap from other 4x4s, and then with it evenly lined up with these two, that gives me a square. That's great. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to cut this half the depth of the thing, and then I'm going to do a cross cut, and that's going to basically give me like a little like stub. I'm going to do the same with the other ones, and then these are going to basically lay on top of each other, and then that's going to create a square. Well, that's going to create one corner of the joint, and then we're going to do it for all of these various joints we have. Granted, now that I'm really eyeballing this right now, I'm really tempted to go ahead and do a cut through on this, but I do want to make sure of something first. Yeah, okay. So the saw should cut deep enough. Okay. So what's going to happen is I'm going to run my saw just straight across, just one time. That's it. And I'm going to flip these two boards around and do the same. And we'll do the same with the other two boards, because we're basically going to create notches at each end that we're then going to rip saw. I think I might go ahead and just do these two right quick, and then the other two boards we'll just work at it as we go along. I'm not really trying to push this project to completion. I am not intending to complete this project this stream, because I only have the 4x4 material. I'm only planning to do the work on these guys today and nothing else, and then we'll finish up the build on another stream. Probably next week is my intentions. So and there we go. That is half of our cut. So we'll take these, flip them around, make sure everything's staying nice and even, and then we'll take our reference piece. And one of the big reasons why I'm using this to set my line on this side is because this is made out of these, and I want, essentially what I want is like this piece to sit in the cutout that I'm making. And this is kind of a thing called, I forget, I don't know if it's like called using your work pieces as a reference to themselves or something, but it's something along those lines. Something along those lines. So let me grab my Makita here and let's go. And there we go. So, good news for me. Part of the good news for me is I am intending for this to be the majority of my machine cutting for today. I will machine cut the other two pieces, but I've got a lot of work ahead of myself. So this is going to go off to the side. Oh, wow. Is that how deep these guys are? Yeah, that's round about how deep these guys are. Ooh, this is gonna be exciting. Oi, oi. So, I finally get to use this guy. My good old... carpenter's vise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to angle the camera up, kind of a little bit out, kind of get you guys a really good view here, because I now get to do a lot of fun. And by a lot of fun, I mean hand sawing, because that's how I'm planning to rip cut the top part for my, well, for these laps, because they're lap joints. Woo! Oh man, it's a little too hazakashi. At least as far as like. You know what? Bump kiss. So starting doing some shallow grooves. Really light. Always start really nice and light. And then just slowly build it up. Granted, unlike past times, so when I did the Japanese sawhorse build, I did not have the carpenter vise. Today I have the carpenter vise. And I gotta say, this is making a world of difference. Okay. Just wanna... That looks reasonable. You know what? Let's say we're looking pretty good. Because the kerf on the side facing towards me, I'm reasonably happy with that. Now if I can get the kerf on the other side to do the same thing, then I'll be in like Flynn. Ah, okay. That's why the camera's wiggling. I was wondering why the camera was wiggling. Camera's wiggling too much for my liking. But that's part of the. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see if that reduces the camera's wiggles. Whoa! Easy now, easy now. Ooh. Okay, we'll just do some downstrokes, but we'll go ahead and switch to one arm in it. there we go. There we go. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to make another one of these on the other end, and then that's going to go in there. Now this is actually a pretty, it's got a bit of a it's got a bit of a nick in it, but we've got a pretty good off cut. So fun thing about me when I'm evaluating some of my offcuts, one of the things I use to determine whether or not it's a good offcut to save for like a later project is if I imagine I can use it for a couple coaster. If it's big enough for me to reimagine it as a coaster, then it gets saved for later. Okay. So we'll release that. Flip our piece around. Now I only have so much room in my vise. Also, kind of just also another aside, at some point I'm probably gonna have to redo my workbench. This was a great first workbench. It is certainly served me well, but if I wish to continue my journey into woodworking, especially trying to do more, let's see here, like, how do I say this? Especially more like hand tool working, I actually need a heavier bench. This bench is on casters, which makes it great as a portable option, because I can just wheel this thing around. Like, it's been great, but turns out if I want to do some of the things that I'm doing right now, it's technically a little bit underpowered or underweight, if you will. So it is kind of a limiting factor for me in what I'm doing. So eventually I'll probably upgrade it, which, hey, that's more time making sawdust. But yeah, just bear with me in the now time, if you don't mind. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll get working on cut number 2. And once again, just like before, start things off really light and easy. Nothing aggressive. We don't want aggressive right now, because I don't have a lot of wood supporting my blade yet. But as the kerf expands and I get a little bit more wood supporting the blade, then I can amp up what I'm doing. Woo-wah! Hey now. Don't move too much. You can move a little bit, not a whole lot. Ooh. go, there we go. I reckon we've got about 3/4 of the cut done. Woo! Okay, we're getting close. Okay, really close. What I'm looking for now is for this kerf to close. Because as long as it's still being held on the other side, where we are at on the other side, we still got a little ways to go. Okay, I'm not as close. Okay, this all sounds changing. Kerf's closing. Wiggle. I think it's actually on this. Woo! Wah! There we go. Another chunk out. Yay! Wow! My goodness gracious. Ah, it smells like pencils. Ooh, okay. But yeah, okay. So I'm going to be taking just a little bit of a breather. Just because of, well, hand sawing is a little exhausting. But we do got step one. Well, we've got one of our 4x4 pieces cut, which I'm looking at the time and I'm like, we're kind of powering through this a bit quicker than I was originally planning, because I was originally planning for today's stream to be, I wanted it to be 2 hours long, but we might finish a bit sooner. Granted, we might also work on doing the kerfs for the 2x4s. It's probably what's going to eventually get to. But for now, old man takes breather. Old man takes breather. Which, bloop, I can move this over to here. Bring this one in. And we can get our next victim psyched up. Aren't you ready to be a victim, piece of wood? I'm sure you're so ready to be a victim of my handsaw. I mean, you've already been a victim of the Mikita-kun circular saw, but you're gonna also become a victim of my handsaw too. Should be great. Your offcuts will actually be used for something. What? I don't know. Or it'll get burned in the fire pit. That's probably one of the two things that's going to happen. Because I usually hold on to the scrap for a little while, and if it's just been hanging around for a hot minute, then I'll actually go ahead and just burn it in the fire pit next time I do a fire pit session, which I miss my fire pit time. But unfortunately, due to exceedingly hot weather, I don't think I'm going to be getting fire pit time anytime soon. And by anytime soon, I mean probably maybe not until in September. Unless we get like some early fall good stuff happening. Which I'm not anticipating, but it might happen. But we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But I miss doing the campfire cooking streams. I was actually looking up potato recipes earlier this week, and I saw a really nice potato soup recipe, and I was like, oh, potato soup, okay, that would be great for stream. And then it's like, no, wait, I should cook, I should do this in the Dutch oven in like actual proper fall, as like, because potato soup would make for a great like cozy fall meal. And it's like, man, I thought I had a plan. I don't have a plan anymore. Granted, I've actually never made French fries, so I might actually try making French fries with fresh potatoes. Because I actually do have oil left over from the that I used to make tempura from wild clover flowers. I still have that oil laying around, and I can actually probably get that oil fired up. Which actually I do kind of like the idea of making French fries. I might do that because I'm still not entirely 100% sure on what I'm doing, at least as far as the meal for tomorrow's stream. I'm definitely going to be harvesting potatoes. I'm going to be cooking with them, but as far as like what I'm actually cooking, no clue. Okay, I think that's a pretty good break. So I'm gonna work on lining this bad boy up. And I was a little bit rough on my set. Because that's really one of the hardest parts about hand sawing, is getting the saw going. Because even at this point, I still can't go like super hard on it, but I can at least. I've got more wood supporting my cut. There we go, there we go. Okay. I gotta say, it makes a world of difference doing this two-handed versus the times I've had to do it one-handed. This carpenter vice is really paying for itself right now. Now let's see. Will I finish it two-handed? Woohoo! Another cut done! Another cut done! I'm starting to get sweaty. But that's just a good upper body workout right there. Got to take those good upper body workouts where you can. And that is tea finished off. Wow. Okay. So we'll release it from the vise and spin it around. Ugh. And lock it back in. Lock back in and take a bit of a breather. It's not super bad work, but it's definitely a little bit tiring, but that's okay. That's okay. This is going to help me grow crops in off season, so actually one of the main focuses, so I talked about how I was inspired to do this project because I wanted to do some gardening in the winter months. Well, the reason why I'm doing this project today is because I actually want to garden in here during the summer months. Specifically, I want to grow lettuce. So right now, the high temperatures in my location for the rotation are routinely hitting 90 degrees. Sometimes low 90s, sometimes mid 90s, and unfortunately some other times high 90s. And with all that, anytime I try to grow lettuce, it will bolt on me. Which basically it gets stressed out and it tries to flower, make seed, and tries to make the next generation of lettuce happen. Which is all fine and good, but I want lettuce now. And I can't get lettuce now if the lettuce I'm growing is trying to make the next generation happen. So I'm thinking if I grow lettuce in a shop, the shop's cooler. It doesn't feel a whole lot cooler right now, but because of how much I've been working. But generally speaking, it's been 70-ish here in the shop, so a lot cooler than outside. At least a good 20-degree difference. So I'm hoping cooler temperatures in here will lead to it having a better... The lettuce will basically do a better job at being lettuce versus actually bolting, and then I have to now not enjoy lettuce, because when lettuce bolts, it gets a lot more bitter, it's less enjoyable. I just can't get any good salads out of it. The things I do for good salads, which another thing I've got going on, gardening wise, going into next garden season, is I have well, what's it called again? Cold frame. I have the cold frame build. I did that earlier this year. That's built. It's not in use because it's not cold. But I do look forward to throwing that on one of my raised beds, and I am genuinely interested in seeing how far into the cold weather season I can keep lettuce and maybe a couple radishes going. I will be planting radishes just out in some of my other beds, just because radishes are very resilient crops. They can actually take a light frost. One of the crops that can. So yeah, hopefully this fall, early winter will be really good crop stuff. Because so far this garden season has been 50-50. I've done better on broccoli. This year, I was weak on peas. I've definitely been weak on tomatoes. Peppers are doing kind of okay. But I've done really good with kale. Kale's been really good this year. Hops have been weak. And blackberries just keep getting better and better every season. Not sure why. Well, I'm sure it's because the plants get more established with every year. So, let's go ahead and let's get back into doing some hand-sawing. If I can start a kerf properly. Oh, got a little too aggressive there. So I'm going to take it nice and easy. And I'm going to just try and bring that kerf all the way across. Just so that way I get some of that kerf across. Make sure everything continues to stay lined up where I want it. Whoa. Hey now, Power, don't flicker on me. I've already had that scare once. Whoop. So far, so good. Okay. Ah! Oh man, I always love it when it just comes apart right at the end. Woohoo! Lovelykins! Another one is done. Ooh, ha! Gotcha! There we go. So that's a 1. So I'm gonna go ahead. Bring this back over here. This guy can go hang out over here. Because we got those 2 done. But we have 4 pieces. So we've got more pieces to take care of. Woo! Granted, I am going to be taking breaks. Granted, I might also throw on the BRB screen at some point and take a bathroom break. I can feel like my bladder is getting close to the point of being like, hey buddy, bathroom, please, thank you. Granted, what I might do is I'll get these marked, get them marked and cut, and if I'm happy with them, and then I'll hit the little homesteader's room. Okay. There we go. Take those, turn them around. Let's take a look at this side. Pretty even up. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Another wonderful day to be alive. Something, something. Okay. Just wanna... So one thing I should be doing is checking these for square. Yeah, because that one's a hair bit off. It's the bottom part's right. Ooh, wait, that looks better. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, that looks better. Still not good enough. So... we'll run with that. Come over here, Nikita-kun. Really been pulling your weight. Been pulling your weight pretty well. Appreciate you. Okay. Oh. Okay. So, I need to use the restroom, and my sister just texted me wanting me to give her an update on her dog. So, I'm going to go do those two things right quick, and we'll get right back with it. Okay, I'm back. And the Emoyo has been updated on her dog's condition. So, to help give me a little bit of energy as I go into these next couple of round of cuts, I have grabbed myself an NA beer. Because I like NA beer. I just like beer in general, but NA beer has been an absolute godsend for me. Because it is good stuff. Hey, sister, stop texting me. Because the thing with NA beer is I can have my beer without my alcohol, and it's great, especially if I'm doing stuff like this, where it's like I'm working on a project and I don't want to be inebriated, at least I ruin the project. So, we've got some hand sawing work to do. So let's go ahead and get these in there. Whew. Because, yeah, this is going to be a fair bit of work. I mean, technically I'm halfway done, but there's still work to do. Okay, that looks good. And we'll be starting off nice and easy with getting our cut going. once the cut's going, switch to 2 hands. We'll bring our line across the top. Just to help maintain that straight line going down. Oh, I'm getting distracted. Getting distracted. And as you can see by how much some of the stuff's been wiggling, I'm definitely going to need that upgraded workbench at some point, which I actually have plans for. I bought a whole bunch of plans from Woodworking for Mere Mortals, and yeah, I bought those when they were on their Christmas sale, and I still have yet to really go through them. Granted, what we'll probably build first from them is the sanding station, because I need a sanding station. Granted, I'm definitely going to be probably holding off on that project until my water heater gets changed out, because the plumbers are going to need to access the water heater and stuff from my garage. And I don't want to work on that project, because that project's going to live over on that side of the shop once it's done. Well, hey. Okay. Keep getting that corner knocked in there. Feel like I almost need like a longer saw, based off how I'm getting hung up on this. Either that, or I'm just someone who needs to get better technique, which it could very well possibly be that. I do not. I'm still very much an amateur at this. But you can still be an amateur and still get, like, good enough results. Which, considering the fact that at the end of the day, this is going to basically kind of be a piece of shop furniture. It's just going to be a piece of shop furniture that I will be growing vegetables on top of. We're getting close to the end. Granted, we still have a little bit of ways. Okay. piece is wiggling. I'm getting the happy sounds. Yeah! Whoa! Oh. I meant to recover that. But hey. Woo! That's another cut done. And also time to take a breather because making these cuts is definitely a little bit on the physically exhausting part. Well, it's not like really physically exhausting. When I did the Japanese sawhorse build, and because for some of the tendon cuts, this was before I had my carpentry vise. This has been a recent upgrade for me, and I have been loving it. It has been very good, just based off its performance today. But yeah, having to hold pieces like this while also using the saw. So basically, if you're only using one arm, you're only using you basically have half power for the saw. So your cutting speed is cut in half versus how I kind of got things set up today in the shop to where I can actually use both hands to power my saw through the cut. I'm not trying to force the saw through the cut. I'm not trying to go crazy or hammer or anything. It's just how things turn out. And I'm looking at this and my OCD is saying I'm off a bit, but I'm off in an amount that I can live with. Because if I want, I could just shave this down with a hand plane or something. Or just not worry about it, which is honestly what it's probably going to come down to, if I'm being honest. Okay, let's flip her around. Oopsie daisies. Backsensy daisies. And check. Secure. All that fun stuff. Well, time to work hard again. Okay. Now time for the most delicate part of the operation. Getting started. Because the start determines everything. Because that last one that seemed ever so slightly off, guess what? That has traditionally been good performance for me. That's been good performance from me with this tool that I'm using right now. Now, the biggest reason why I'm using one hand now is one, I'm not trying to really cut a whole lot of wood right now. I'm literally just making a quarter of my cut. I also want to be light with my cutting power right now. Because it's more important for me to set my kerf up right than to power through my cut. Because making sure I get everything nice and straight and even is the most important thing at this juncture. And so far I like it. So far it looks pretty good. A thing that you can kind of tell from your all's perspective is the reflection of the wood in the blade. If it looks like a mirror of the piece that it's reflecting, that's typically a good sign, because that means the saw's straight. So I've got a lot of kerf right now to support my blade. I'm kind of try to put a little bit more power into it. Maybe not that much. Oh, my stroke got a little too long there, and the saw came out of the cut. Because the thing with these Japanese pull saws is they cut in tension on the pull stroke. And because they cut in tension, the blades are really thin. So they will buckle up easily if you don't have everything set up right. Like me trying to do that. Granted, I have what can be considered obnoxiously long arms. And I think I've been wanting to make way too long of a pull rather than trying to make short, consistent, even pulls. We're getting close. That's really close. Where are my wiggles? Oh, I just had to wiggle it out. Okay. I can live with that. But you know what? That's a pretty square looking piece. And that is basically about as good as my saw cutting with the pull saw has gotten. So, big thanks to you. Big thanks to you, buddy. You've been wonderful for me. You've been very wonderful for me. So, that's 3 pieces cut, but we're trying to make a square because I'm a square. So we got one more piece to work on, at least as far as doing our cuts. But because it does fatigue me to use the pull saw, time for an NA beer break. Granted, I am tired of being sweaty though, because I've had unbelievable amounts of humidity at my location on the rotation, and so one of the things I do for fun, believe it or not, is I actually volunteer. I actually volunteer for one of my local parks. I primarily do trail work and invasive species removal type stuff, and today was one of our project days. And it was actually my first project day in about 2 months, which one of the reasons why it took so long was because the whole month of June, no project days were scheduled, and now July rolls around and then they want to start scheduling some project days, and it's like, guys, It's like 90% humidity outside. It is swamp air. Okay, I'll be outside. So, I did that today. We worked on a trail reroute. We installed some water bars, which are like a water controlling feature in the trail to help get water off of it. It was a pretty good day. Reasonably routine. We had a pretty good group of people. So, even though we had a fair... I would reckon we had a pretty okay-ish amount of work to do, but we still got everything done that we were planning on getting done to that day. Well, today. I also picked up a souvenir. Ugh. Which I was going to show to one of my friends if he showed up today, but... So, what this is a piece of black locust wood. Yeah. Can I rest you on the workbench like that? Yeah, just hang out right there. So, this is black locust. This is actually the tree. We actually, somewhat unfortunately, had to cut this tree down because we wanted to use this tree for our water bars. One of the reasons why black locust is a good tree for making water bars out of is this is one of the most rot-resistant native trees to Eastern North America. And if you want to basically build something and stick it outside and make it last for a long while, black locust is a really great choice for that. And I don't know of many hardwood dealers near me. So it's always been really hard for me to source hardwood, and I have what basically amounts to a pretty good chunk of black locust here. So I'm not entirely sure what sort of project I'm going to use this for, but I'm definitely going to be using this for a project because it's black locust. It's going to be really fun. This wood that I've been using here today, all of it's been cedar. Eastern red cedar, Latin name Juniperus virginianae. It is also a really great wood if you want to stick stuff outside and have it last for a while. Another reason why I'm working with it for today, since this is going to be basically I'm basically building a wooden platform that's going to rest on casters, and then I'm going to put containers on it, and then in the containers I'm going to be growing the garden. I'm basically making like a really big container thing. Cedar is a fantastic wood at rot resistance. Black locust is better, but if I were to source black locust for this, it would be a lot more expensive, and two, the sawdust would be poisonous to me because a black locust is kind of poisonous. I don't think it's like really bad, but it's something I would have to be careful about. Whereas like the cedar, I have like a air filter, air purifier, and also we haven't used the circular saw too much, so I reckon not much of a health hazard with the cedar versus black locust. Black locust, there's a little bit more of a health hazard there. This stuff, not so much, but it is definitely a great material of choice for today's build. Also, I picked this up from a local sawmill. However, though, said local sawmill only does Eastern red cedar, which, from my perspective as a guy who wishes to buy this stuff, because I like to build stuff outside with it, because I built one EPA woodshed with it. I did the cold frame build with this. I've done a couple of other like builds for outdoor applications and even indoor applications. My folding laundry rack, which I will be using either this evening or early tomorrow, depending on whenever I work myself up to actually do laundry, because I'm due to do laundry. I made that out of cedar. So, just a little bit of an aside. Look at it, it's so pretty. And also, oh, this thin layer of white you see around it, that's the sapwood. That's another interesting thing about black locust is it makes a lot of heartwood to sapwood versus our eastern red cedar here, which actually serves as a really great example. This is the bark layer. The white layer is the sapwood, and then the heartwood is it's purple and pink. Pink from my view, maybe not so much from your guys's. Hang out over there, Black Locust. I do look forward to building something out of that, or making something out of that. I'm not sure if I want to do something. I'm kind of thinking almost making like chisel handles out of them, out of that. Just because chisel handles have to take a lot of impact. And I think that might be a good wood for that. Okay. I'm feeling reasonably rested up. Let's see what we can do here. Let's try to get a little bit of work done. Can't just yap the day away. Gotta get a little bit of that work done too. Whoa. Sugi, don't get distracted. I know you're surrounded by wood and that easily distracts you. Okay, we're looking good there. We'll bring our kerf across the top. Maintaining slow and steady care. Make sure we keep going in the direction we go. Because there's been a couple of times I've used the pull saw, and a lot of those times involved me holding the workpiece with one hand versus powering through with the two that you see me doing right now. I've made some curved cuts that I've looked back on and I'm like, how did I cut that curve like that? I just pulled the whole saw out of the kerf like a silly. Easy there, buddy. Looking pretty good on my side. We're getting through it. Getting through it. Okay. We'll be... Ooh, getting close. Woohoo! Another cut made. Another joint. Actually, did I go pretty low on that backside? I did. I certainly did. That's certainly fine though. Whew. Time to hydrate. Nothing like some good old hydration. But yeah, I gotta say, this carpentry vice is really paying for itself right now. Really glad I picked that up during Harbor Freight's Memorial Day sale. Okay. Flip her around. And this will actually be... This next handsaw cut will be the last for today. And depending on how things go, this might be the last cut before I end stream because I have to stream tomorrow. I have potatoes behind me well, I gotta, there's some like prep I have to do. Primarily, what I did last year for the potato harvest stream is I created a platform with a sheet of plywood with 5-gallon plastic buckets under it. And that was the platform I did like all the potato harvesting on. I did that so that way I could be like somewhat standing up while I'm dumping the buckets. But that meant I also had to lift the buckets up onto the platform to dump them, which was, it was a lot of moaning and groaning and to throw dirt around. So I'm thinking for this year, what I'll do is I'll just take my streaming setup, because right now most of my stuff is currently set up on a shelf and like above my workbench, and I'll take it and I'll drop it down onto my actual workbench, which is now full of offcuts and measuring tools and half-baked plans. Set everything down here, and then from down here I will like basically run stream from there. I will put a tarp across the floor because I'm gonna be dumping dirt, and yeah, hopefully it should work out well. I just have to also figure out what I'm doing recipe-wise, because I was thinking mashed potatoes as like an early idea, but mashed potatoes seems almost a little bland. Doesn't seem as interesting or fun. So I'm actually leaning towards French fries. So I've never made like fresh from potato French fries before. Completely new experience to me. And that's kind of what I want to do. I don't want to just take some potatoes, dice them up, and then make a stir, and then just fry them up with some like peppers and onions. Granted, I love eating potatoes like that, and that is most certainly how some of these potatoes are going to be consumed. So, but I want to do something new. I want to do something different. I want to learn a new thing. That's the big reason why I do the campfire cooking streams I do, is because I want to learn new recipes. And it's also a lot of fun to try to reverse engineer recipes from anime. Granted, speaking of anime recipes, I don't like quote me on this, but I am thinking about doing the, so in the anime Food Wars, in the first episode, the main character Soma, he makes a dish called the gotcha pork roast, and it's basically a roast but you take like strips of bacon, and you basically take like a mashed potato mix, which I think also has mushrooms. I forget the whole ingredients list for the interior. I mean, it's been a while since the first episode of that show came out, but I did have a friend make that as a, because he likes to experiment with like cooking and such. So he made it, and I'm thinking, as far as the dishes from Food Wars is concerned, that seems reasonably straightforward. Because some of the stuff, especially like later parts of the later seasons, kind of get a little bit ambitious. Because some of that, because at least especially as far as like techniques concerned, like I'm an okay-ish cook. Like I made pasta for dinner tonight before stream. It was great. It filled me up. I had a little bit of leftovers. It'll go great with tomorrow's salad. All good stuff. But I'm not like a high-level expert in like cookery. I am very much a man who can feed himself from the grocery store, and that's pretty much the extent. Well, that is pretty much the extent of my cooking prowess. But that's also why I do occasionally do cooking streams, is because, hey, I want to expand the skill set a little bit. I actually got into one of the bigger motivations for me getting into VTubing was I want to get better at woodworking, but I'm too lazy to work on projects. Well, if I make projects content and I have to like make content as a content creator, then I basically have to force myself to build things. And that's where I'm at right now. So, I think with the way things are going, I'm going to sip water. I'll work on doing this cut here, and this will probably be the last cut for today's stream, because moving forward with this project, all I have to do is kind of give a bit of a review of where we're. Here is the very simple sketch I've made. Currently right now is I'm working on a 4x4 frame out of 4x4s. And I'm going to have some pieces of 2x4 on 12-inch centers. So since this is going to be 4 feet across, it'll be like 12 inches, 24 inches, 36 inches. And that's going to be the main like frame, if you will. And then I'm going to put some slats on top. So pretty simple stuff as far as like things I have to do. But I'm thinking for the 2x4s, what I'm going to do is, see, I could attach the 2x4s with inside the frame like this and like use like pocket hole joint. Well, yeah, I could use pocket holes to hold it. But since this is going to be holding soil and dirt and water and plants, I want to have a little bit more, I want it to be a bit sturdier. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut dados out, and then basically what's going to happen is this whole piece is going to like rest inside of here. Well, something like what we're going to, this might help inspire you guys a little bit, but it'll be something kind of sort of like that. And it'll be a lot better. It'll be a lot more supported. It'll work out better. So I'll have, and the thing is, I only have to cut 6 of those. And I think those will actually go pretty quickly. Because then at that point, all I have to do is slice and dice up some 2x4s, which would be like 4 feet long, and then get a couple 4-foot sections of slat material to go as covering for the top, and assembly. So it should be, this project's, I designed it to be straightforward because I don't want to like design myself into a hole, at least as far as like making things complex. And I'm sorry that my sketch is laughably simple, but it did help me kind of flesh out some ideas, because originally when I was thinking about my 2x4 placing, well, I plan to use 3. Well, 3 goes into, well, 4 feet is 48 inches. You divide 48 by 3, you get 16 inches. So I was thinking 16-inch centers. And it's like, no, then I'll have, if I do a piece at, if I do something like that, then I'll have a piece at 16 inches, a piece at 32 inches, and a piece at 48 inches. Well, this is going to be the frame. I don't need a piece at the end. I need my pieces in the center. And then I realized, rather than dividing by 3, I need to divide by 4, which gets me 12-inch spacing. And then I do 12, 24, 36. And then I have supports to help support the weight of everything. Because for the slats, I'm only using 3/4 inch material, which is reasonably strong. But this platform is going to be holding 4 of my pots. And these pots get heavy enough to the point where I can barely lift them. And I'm a reasonably strong guy. Like, I can lift 50 pounds no problem. And I'm sure they push like 70, 80-ish pounds. So I really want to make sure everything's nicely supported, so that way the thing don't break. But yeah, that's just some rambling so I can recover my physical strength to do a physical thing. That nut's loose. Do I need to tighten that? I need to tighten that a little bit. Huh. There we go, that's better. This little nut right here was a bit loose. Okay. Well, I think that's enough yammering. That is way too much yammering. Because we've got saw cutting to do. There we go. There we go. So far, so good. Easy there, Sug. Just keep bringing the line down. My workbench sure does like to move, doesn't it? It's really rocking now. But I reckon we're a pretty good ways through the cut. No reason to stop now. close to that finish line. Yay! Dun dun! There it is! Woo! Another piece cut out and wonderfully notched. So, a bit of a visual for some of you people for what I've been trying to accomplish today. Basically, this is how I'm going to be bringing this project together, which I like the visual. I want to have my hand a little bit further out. But yeah, but this is basically how I plan to interlock the two pieces together, and that's going to make for a really nice, really strong joint. It's going to be able to hold a lot of weight, which is my biggest concern with this build. Above and beyond, my biggest concern with this build is just the amount of weight that this platform is going to have to hold. Because, yes, I am putting... Actually. So, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm planning to use all 4 of those big pots. Don't worry about the small ones. Small ones are going to just be out in the yard doing out in the yard things. That's what they're going to be doing. So, yeah. So we made pretty good bit of progress today. Actually, we'll just finish at the workbench. Ah, the good old workbench. I love the workbench. It's been a good workbench. My biggest motivation for actually getting a workbench in the first place is my first my first small woodworking project is I basically made I basically took 3 pieces of wood for a visualization, and what I did is I did basically something like this to use the space in between 2 as a holder for my weights, my dumbbells, my adjustable dumbbells, because I wanted to have them on top of my bookshelf, on top of a small bookshelf, so that way when I go to grab them, they'll be at like waist height, so I can just like easily walk up to them, grab them, and do a few curls or whatever. Because, well, if you want to encourage yourself to engage in an activity, but you find it hard to work up the motivation to do so, one thing you can do for yourself is reduce the friction it takes to engage in that activity. So if I had my dumbbells laying on the floor, then I have to do a squat to pick them up, and then I can start using them. But if I have them at waist height where I can walk up to them, grab them, do some curls, or whatever I want to do while I'm to get whatever small workout, which I feel like with today I don't need that workout, but that's also why I do workouts on days where I don't work on projects, because you gotta build up that physical strength for the times you need it. But yeah, reducing the friction it takes to do a thing that you want to do is usually a pretty surefire way to do the thing you want to do more. So, with all that, I want to say thank you very much to everyone who tuned in today. I'm going to go ahead and be wrapping up the stream for this evening. So, just want to say thank you very much to everyone who tuned in. And yeah, may you have a great rest of your day, evening, night, whatever it is, wherever you're at. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.